Hello, my pseudonym is Nowachi, and I'm a human behind this channel. The script for this video, as well as its editing, is entirely my own work. The original concept for the images I use is also mine, and I rely on artificial intelligence to bring them to life. I also use an AI-generated voice to protect my privacy. I hope you enjoy this video. It's very likely that the title of this video gives you a momentary shock, especially if, from your perspective, Jehovah's Witnesses are a religion of kind people who knock on your door to talk about the Bible and teach love for others. While it's true that there are well-behaved individuals among Jehovah's Witnesses, it's also true that there are victims of this religious group. In this video, you'll learn who those victims are and why they are victims. We'll begin by mentioning those who have died because they refused a blood transfusion. Jehovah's Witnesses base their refusal to accept blood transfusions on Acts 15 verses 28 to 29, where it speaks of abstaining from blood. This was a prohibition made centuries before blood transfusions even existed, and it referred specifically to not eating it. Today, the leaders of Jehovah's Witnesses interpret abstain to include refusing transfusions, regardless of whether it's necessary to keep a human being alive. As a result, thousands of people around the world have died for not accepting a blood transfusion, including children whose parents forbid doctors from administering this kind of medical treatment. There have even been cases where Jehovah's Witnesses sued doctors who saved their lives by giving them a transfusion. All of these thousands of people are victims of Jehovah's Witnesses. We'll also mention the thousands of minors who have suffered the kind of abuse that YouTube doesn't like us to name directly. This type of crime has been committed by members of Jehovah's Witnesses, including some elders. That's what they call their pastors. For example, in 2014, a government commission in Australia uncovered over 1,000 cases that had occurred in that country, none of which, you heard that right, none were reported to the authorities, all in order to protect the reputation of the organization. They didn't care that in many of the states where those crimes were committed, anyone who becomes aware of such abuse is legally required to report it to the authorities. And the same is happening all over the world. All of these minors are victims of Jehovah's Witnesses. I've included the official link to the Australian Royal Commission in the description, where you can download a copy of that report. There are also thousands of people who suffer social and family shunning. Among Jehovah's Witnesses, shunning is practiced when one of their baptized members chooses a path in life that differs from what their doctrines dictate, which can include many behaviors, even some considered completely normal by psychiatric science, such as having a sexual orientation toward people of the same gender, accepting a blood transfusion, or rejecting the authority of their leaders, known as the governing body. Let's say a boy gets baptized as one of Jehovah's Witnesses at age 10, but by the time he's 20, he realizes he's attracted to people of his own sex. According to psychiatric science, this is a normal behavior within the human species. However, if this young man decides to live out his sexuality, a group of 3 elders, called a committee of elders, can decide to remove him from the congregation. As a result, his entire social and family circle within Jehovah's Witnesses stops associating with him. Keep in mind that a Jehovah's Witness only forms close friendships within their religious group. It's not surprising, then, that many fall into depression, and some have even made choices we can't name on YouTube, but which involve taking their own life. There have also been cases of people who changed their way of thinking regarding the doctrines of Jehovah's Witnesses. In those cases, again, a committee of elders speaks with the person and may ask whether they still accept the authority of the governing body. If the answer is no, they are removed from Jehovah's Witnesses, and the same thing happens to them as it did to the young man in the previous example. All of these people are also victims of Jehovah's Witnesses. And we could mention many other situations, like people who sold their homes and businesses to go preaching in the years leading up to 1914, 1925, or 1975, years in which they were told the end would come. Or those who gave up pursuing a university education so they wouldn't be looked down on in their congregations, only to regret it years later, having lost irreplaceable time, etc., etc., etc. All of these victims number in the thousands. That's why the Jehovah's Witness community has chosen July 26th of each year as a day to remember the victims of this religious group, to give them visibility in society and to raise awareness, so the number of victims doesn't keep growing. If you'd like to continue learning objectively about Jehovah's Witnesses, I've included links to other videos that will surely interest you. See you soon.